beautiful school never makes it home. Now a killer is on the loose. It's been more than a month since Norma Lopez was found brutally murdered in Southern California. Tonight, a possible break in the case. Cops raided a home near the crime scene, but have they found the killer? Plus, a suicide attempt takes a bizarre twist. A young man trying to end his life jumps 40 floors from a Manhattan high-rise. Amazingly, he landed on a car and survived. But get this, now the owner of the car is furious and she wants answers. I'm Carlos Diaz in for Jane Velez Mitchell. Are police closing in on a teen's killer? 17-year-old Norma Lopez was abducted and murdered in July. She was snatched as she walked from her high school to a friend's house. 5 days later, her body was found in a remote field in Riverside, California.
Indications of a possible struggle that may have occurred. At this point, we've contacted all of her friends, all of her family members, and everybody in the area.
Well, their investigation brought them to this home just blocks from where Norma's body was found. 25-year-old Lazarus Tasby lives there with his mom and stepdad. Tasby was a teacher's aide at Norma's high school for 2 years. They seized this green SUV that neighbors say Tasby normally drives. It matches the description of the SUV seen speeding away from where Norma was kidnapped. Tasby wasn't there when cops searched the home. Police have made no arrest and they have not named any suspects, and they won't say how Norma was killed. So are they close to taking a killer off the streets? We're taking your phone calls on this one. 1-877-JVM says. That's 1-877-586-7297. Out to my fantastic panel. I want to start with John Asbury, reporter for the Press Enterprise. John, what do you know about this former teacher's aide, Lazarus Tasby? Did he and Norma know each other?
Well, police have not given any details on how they came to find this house. They have not named anyone as a suspect in the homicide. While Tasby worked at the school officials say that they don't have evidence that Norma and Tasby knew each other. Norma's family was not aware of the search. They were not aware of Lazarus Tasby or his family.
Well, Lazarus Tasby was arrested in October for solicitation of prostitution. He pleaded not guilty a day after his home was raided. His stepdad's attorney held a little news conference right on their driveway. Listen.
No one in this home or in the family is responsible for Norma Lopez's death.
John Asbury, any idea why Tasby left Valley View High last November? Was it because of the solicitation for prostitution?
Well, the district said that those matters were confidential, but given the timing, he resigned about 2 weeks after his arrest, citing personal reasons.
All right, well, the raid at Lazarus Tasbury's home was a pretty bizarre scene. His stepdad, Eric Muswaswa, says he was tased and broke his ankle during a scuffle with police. They arrested him for obstruction and resisting an officer. Here's what his attorney said happened.
The officers knocked on the door. My client opened the door. He indicated, yes, may I help you? The officers burst into the house at that point. My client asked, stop, what this is about. One of the officers told him that he did in fact have a search warrant. My client asked to see the search warrant. However, the officers would not allow him to see the search warrant.
All right, now I'm going to go to Mike Brooks before I go to anybody else. Mike, if somebody says we have a search warrant, I mean, do you...
Get out of the way and let him in.
There you
That's
go.
the bottom line.
Yeah, because basically that's what it sounds like here. He was persistent about wanting a search warrant. They tased him, got him down, and then stepped on his ankle and broke his ankle.
Well, that's what it sounds like. But, you know, that's the side issue.
Yeah.
The main issue here, what did they get out of that house, Carlos? They seized that green Mercury Montero because that fit the description. So they seized that. It's going to be important. It could come down to forensics. What kind of forensics did they find inside that car? what other kind of forensics did they find in that house? I'm sure they took his computer, all his personal papers, and they're going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb to see if there's any relationship between the victim and Tasby. Could there be? Possibly, but this seems like it's the biggest break in this case so far.
John Asbury, do you know if police have interviewed sex offenders in the area?
Yeah, they've interviewed just about every registered sex offender in Moreno Valley and have ruled out just about everyone as suspects. They said, given Norma's past, they haven't found anybody who raises suspicion who might have known her. So they're still treating this as a stranger abduction.
All right, police won't reveal the cause of death. Norma's body was found in an isolated field on the east side of Moreno Valley. They had already found her purse along her walking route from school. She had taken a popular path that was a shortcut to her friend's house. Cops say there were signs of a struggle there. Casey Jordan, if there was a struggle, isn't there likely to be a lot of physical evidence, blood, DNA under Norma's fingernails?
Yes, and that's probably why they wanted to get into this house. And we know that they not only took the SUV, but they took a few items from Lazarus Tasby's bedroom. And I'm sure that they're looking for something that would have his DNA. It's very possible that there is DNA evidence, all kinds of evidence. What I respect about this case is how close to the vest the cops are holding what they know. They're protecting the integrity of the case so that when they get their suspect, make an arrest, they can have a good trial and make sure there are no little get-out-of-jail-free cards based on improper due process.
Casey Jordan, do you agree? Is that why police are taking their time with this?
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the police know a lot more about what's going on than we know. But this is very encouraging because they're finally acting on the evidence that they have. And the fact that Tasby worked at the high school where Lopez went to school, I know I've heard that they didn't know each other, but that doesn't mean that he didn't know of her. And because the crime scene was very close in proximity to the house where he lived, the fact that he did work at the school, the fact that he has been arrested for soliciting a prostitute, all of these things add up in what we know in criminology to make this person.
They don't add up to probable cause, Casey, and you know better than that. I mean, there is no probable cause.
to do a
enough to get
search.
an arrest warrant, Janie. There was no arrest.
Let Janie speak. Janie, what do you have to say? Keep
Jane,
going.
If there were
Jane.
probable cause, there would have been an arrest. That's number one.
Exactly.
Number two
they had
is,
probable cause to search his
Why would
house.
they
They
do
did.
that now? They're not doing the investigation.
Let Jane finish. Jane, what do you have to say?
They did not have probable cause for anything except the van. And Casey is halfway right. Yes, they did take other things because while it's in plain view, if something took their eye, they're allowed to do that. But this is nothing more than, at this point, putting a circled peg in a square, and that's all there is.
No,
the
it's
fact
not.
that he
No,
was
it's not.
arrested for soliciting a prostitute, so let's throw that out now. Then, of course, he's the one that took this 17-year-old. That's ridiculous.
Oh, Janie, I guess Janie's seen the
Listen,
case,
that's not at
Jackie.
all what I said. I'm telling you that in criminal behavior
One at a
This is
time.
how you form a case.
One at a
This is
time.
how you make a case. You have a series of circumstances. You link those circumstances together. You find evidence. You have probable cause. You make an arrest. Now, no one's saying anything right now because...
But that's not what happened.
Well,
They-
wait,
they
Jane,
rail-
but
they-
the cops
they
are
come on
keeping
the
this
guy-
case. We don't know what the evidence is. The cops are keeping
Well,
this
we
so
know that
close
they
to
broke
the
his
vest,
ankle, they
don't wanna change
tasered him,
anything.
and they didn't want to show him the warrant
Yeah.
to start.
All right, now hold up. Let's go to the phone lines. And as I said before, Jane took her gavels on vacation with her. They're very dear to her. Jose in California. Jose, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, my comments would be about the relationship between the student and teacher. A lot of times, other students know that there might be something going on. So a lot of times, the authorities might be able to question everybody that was in the classroom at the time that the substitute was instructing Mrs. Lopez. Perhaps they saw them together during a break time. Perhaps they saw them exchanging certain types of comments to each other. I would focus a lot about what the students know about how Mrs. Lopez would behave around this instructor.
Jose,
Get a feel of-
100% right.
hold on. Jose, great point. Dr. Brenda Wade, I want to go to you. Do you start at the school? Is that your main focus and work out from there?
You know, I would certainly want to know what the relationships are, but Carlos, a case like this, I just can't help saying that what we need more than anything is an educational program on how to keep our teenage girls safe. We cover these stories all the time, and I would give almost anything if I knew we had a program where teens would buddy with each other, that there would never be a time when a girl would leave a school alone to go to a friend's house. But there would never be a time when parents aren't monitoring where their kids are. Whatever those relationships are, we all need to take it very seriously that we keep our teens safe. It is so critical.
Carlos, can I say one thing
Sure,
about
go ahead.
what
30
the
seconds.
caller said?
Go ahead.
You know, I've prosecuted a lot of cases, or I've prosecuted a couple cases where teachers have been involved with students. And he's 100% right. Lots of times it's the parents that are the last people to know what their child is doing in school. It is the other students that see slight things going on, things that maybe the average Joe wouldn't see. And maybe they really do, that's what they're doing. They've investigated whether or not there was any kind of relationship. And I'm not saying there was, but if there's more here that met the eye, that behind the scenes, this girl might have known this teacher more than they're leading on.
All right, everyone stay where you're at right now. Somebody get me a gavel. We're going to have much more on this family's desperate search for justice coming up in a matter of seconds. Plus, 2 years old and addicted to cigarettes. How do you convince a toddler he needs to kick this deadly habit? Coming up, a killer on the loose in California. Who killed Norma Lopez? We're taking your phone calls. Come on, call us right now. 1-877-JVM says, we want to hear from you. 1-877-586-7297.
Hey, Smart, we can stay here for the conference. I'm a member of this hotel's loyalty program.
Well, how far away is it?
Okay, we take a train to a dude ranch, then we canoe to the conference.
Or we could book with Hotels.com and stay closer.
Accumulate 10 nights and get a night free. Welcome rewards from Hotels.com.
Sure are a lot of channels at your disposal. You could get carpal thumb surfing through all that. A train always has the air you want when you want it. It doesn't waste your time or dime. How's that for on demand? It's hard to stop a train.
Hi, I'm Stormy Simon. At Overstock.com, we've designed our site to be easy to shop, and we have the low prices you want every day on name brand products up to 70% off. We care about our customers, and our award-winning customer care team is available whenever you need help. And remember, whether you shop online or on your mobile phone, your entire order ships for just $2.95. Overstock.com, at home with the O.
All right, Team Haribo. Favorite flavor and color. What do we got?
Well, sir, my research shows that orange is the most popular Haribo Gold Bear.
Sounds good to me. My focus group likes the green. That's good news.
My data shows that lemon is the most popular.
Actually, clear pineapple is the best according to my calculations.
Excellent. The buzz on mine's all about red raspberry.
What's your favorite, JB?
I like them all. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Stop throwing your hard-earned cash in the trash. The all-new Food Saver vacuum packaging system with Smart Seal technology could save you $2,700 a year. Don't waste food with ordinary zipper bags and plastic wrap. The Food Saver system takes air out and keeps it out, eliminating freezer burn. You can buy in economical bulk sizes, knowing the extras stay fresh up to 5 times longer. With its new upright design and hands-free operation, it has never been easier to keep your food fresh. The Food Saver system, available wherever small kitchen appliances are sold.
I want to see the most college football.
So I ordered the ESPN game plan on DirecTV.
I get up to 15 out-of-market games per week.
The top conferences.
And key matchups.
Games you can't get anywhere else.
And the games I want to see.
Order the special early bird offer and get a full season of college football with ESPN game plan on DirecTV. To order for only 4 payments of $28.99 each, call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com/gameplan.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema. How can one funeral
That's not my fault.
go this wrong?
You got Jackie Chan in there.
How can one family be this insane?
What are you doing? Hello.
And how can one guy keep it all together?
We're in a better place now.
Since when does deadbeat sit?
Say your prayers.
I'm not wearing any panties.
Put some panties on. Grieving panties.
Death at a Funeral. Movies playing on channels 125 through 199.
Norma Lopez was brutally murdered on her way home from school. Tonight, have cops finally found her killer? That's next. But first, some good news in tonight's Top of the Block. The infamous smoking toddler has kicked his habit. Remember this little guy? He's 2 years old. He lives in Indonesia, and he was smoking more than 2 packs a day. That's 40 heaters every single day. He became a YouTube sensation. Well, check this out. He checked out of rehab, and apparently he is now nicotine-free. Although there is concern he could get back into temptation and spark right back up. Here's an idea to the mom and dad in this situation. I don't know. Keep him away from the smokes. I mean, he's 2 years old. He can't exactly jump in the car and go to the liquor store and order a pack of Lucky Strikes. Come on. Trade in the butt and plug in a binky. He'll thank you for it later. He's a kid. That's tonight's Top of the Block. I'm Carlos Diaz in for Jane Velez Mitchell. Are police closing in on a teen's killer? I want to get back to the search for Norma Lopez's killer. The 17-year-old was abducted and murdered in July, walking home from school to a friend's house. Police haven't named any suspects, but on Tuesday, they raided the home of a former teacher's aide. Was Lazarus Tasby's car the one seen speeding away from where Norma was kidnapped? Let's go right back out to Mike Brooks. Mike, what is the most important thing for this guy, Lazarus Tasby?
Well, investigators are holding their cards very close to the vest, like one of our guests said, and I think that's a great thing. But one of the things I hope they recovered while they were in that house is his cell phone. Is he able to account for where he was when she disappeared on July 15th? If he had his cell phone, they can also go back and subpoena his cell phone records and find out where he was by cell phone pings. Was he in that area? Was he possibly nearby where she was recovered?
Investigators have told Norma's family they believe multiple suspects may be involved in her murder and that they were likely strangers to her. Norma's sister also thinks she was abducted and murdered by a stranger, but their dad is convinced Norma knew her killer. Casey Jordan, what's your take on that?
This sort of daytime attack, 10 a.m. in the morning, in an open field, is very high risk. And it's the sort of thing that normally does happen to a victim by somebody that they would know or who's been stalking them. But in this particular case, it's so high risk, you wonder if somebody was laying in wait and it was a stranger attack. The particular circumstances of this case, I would go 50-50 on. There's a lot that's unusual about it.
Fabulous guests. You guys are awesome. To my panel, thank you so much. Tonight, shifting gears, a flashy muscle car saves